Hey train fan, this is Doug, Train Depot. All aboard. Well, today I'm gonna work on northern southern train station area where they control all the trains coming into the Emmons yard. So I looked on Google Maps and I realized it's a three-tier building. So I have two of these type of buildings and it looks sort of like this. What I'm gonna try to do today is cut it right between here where I can put this top level on another building just like this to give him my three levels. So all aboard. I'm back, train fans. Another thing I wanted to talk about just a little bit, I was watching the news how young adults, like teenagers, playing on the train tracks in front of the trains while they moving down the line. That's very dangerous for both parties. Well, when y'all do things like that, y'all putting the conductor and the engineer life danger in a life danger situation. We don't want to do that. Please stop that, where your family or their family won't be hurt for the silliness what we doing in front of big trains. Them things is very big and they're very powerful and they can't stop on a dime like a car. So we don't want to do that, and we don't want to see no one get hurt like that for no reason. You don't have no reason to do things like that. So just get on the hobby station and learn more about trains before you find out the wrong way. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. And we're gonna get back on what we're here for, to learn, to make sure you like your hobby. All aboard. All right, train fam. Well, we got that cut. And what I cut it with, this right here, this little saw here is for cutting like foam board, things like that. You know, just cutting board, foam board, and it's all the blades on it is very good for what I'm doing. And they cut wood, they cut everything, and it don't cost that much. You go to the Home Depot, Lowe's, and get this little saw here. So that's what helped me cut this thing straight. So it ain't a bad cut. This is not a bad cut at all. And what we're gonna do is set it right on top of something just like this already. But what I will have to do, I don't know if I probably have to put floors per one to light up each one, or I see, can I just put more lights in this station where it'll illuminate for 3 floors. So all aboard. All right, Trev and train fan, thank you for waiting. And look, I brought the other station. We're gonna put them on like that. See how that is? Now, I ain't worried about this other side right here, because once I glue it all down, then I'm gonna put something where it hide the cut that didn't quite come right on this side here. So stay on board. Just stay on board and let's see how this little thing work out for us. All aboard. All right, train fan, now I'm putting the side back on this station here, and I just gotta let it sit enough where it will hold itself like that. All right, so we already got a light in this one, and we got to put these on this here. So I got to put more light in this building where it'll help illuminate this building, because now we don't turn it from 2 floors to a 3 floor. So stay on board. All right, I see, can I get a clamp to hold this tightly for us? And let's see what this one here works. And what we want to make sure it's good and tight. We want to make sure it's good and tight. We're making a great connection. When we want it to stay square as possible. That's the main thing, to stay square with the building. So we're gonna leave it like that. I'm checking it, make sure everything to par. I'm just checking it. So now what we're doing, we actually scratch building a building by using 2 buildings. Sometimes people use 3 or 4 to make something close to what they need. And that's what it calls scratch building. When you're using other buildings to do what you're trying to do. So I'm just making sure it's good and tight, y'all. Just making sure it's good and tight. Okay, so right now we're gonna let this set for a while we work on this other building here, where we put lights in here. We're gonna put lights in this while this one here is setting up. All right, you remember what I was telling y'all about the light? So, well, I'm looking at my building here. So it looks like we're gonna be needing like three lights again. Three lights off our unit. And you remember I said these little brass units, this way you're gonna cut it at, because it got a positive and negative on it. Now I had got a comment from a person my daughter want to do a shoe shelf or whatever, and she said, Dad, can I do that the same way with a shoe rack or whatever? I said, yes, you can. And I'm gonna show y'all, you know, when you solder this one, like I soldered that one there, and you see your wires. Well, say for instance, say if I wanted to light up each one of these here, I just stretched this out to the distance of my shelf, right? And then the wiring, these 2 brass units, when I cut it, where I can solder the wire with these little 20, 22 gauge, 18 gauge wire. Well, what that does, that way I can put each one of these to each one of these shelves if I want each one of these shelves light up. Now, instead of running them to one group of wire and then, you know, twisting them all together, you can get something else to put on that. A bus. You can, these little buses, let me see, can I find one? So stay on board. All right. So this is the little bus I was talking about. So imagine if I wanted to wire up each one of these here using my strip lighting, right? Once I wire my lights up to here, to these here, on here for neutral and hot, once I get it stretched out and cut my wire, I put this bus somewhere on the side of one if I want to do it that way instead of using wire nuts. And each one of these I come to this bus and bring the wires here. Now, how you use this bus is like every other. Like say if I want to make my first screw is my hot, then I have to skip and make the third one my hot, so on and so on, where they actually loop, and where that way when you put your wires on the hot and neutral on this side, now you don't have to use wire nuts. All you have to do is just run your wires right to each one of your bus unit here. And once you come to your last one, that's where you get your transformer hookup and put the negative on one end, positive on the other end, and that wire goes straight to your wire to plug up in the wall with your remote or a switch. And when you hit either one, each one of your levels of cabinets or shoe racks will come on. So I just throw that out there to my daughter because she wanted to know, could you do it for a shoe rack? And yes, you can. You can do it for anything if you want to. All you have to do is just know the know-how, and I'm going to do my best to show y'all what little bit I know in my head. I'm giving it to you. So all aboard. Also, be sure you subscribe to my channel, because that's what helped me just stay on. That helped me also let me know that y'all appreciating what I'm giving y'all. And I appreciate y'all for encouraging me. So, stay on board. All right, I'm back. So what we're ready to do is cut our wire like we said. So let me bring my board. Let me bring my lap board, because I always use my lap board where I won't cut myself or burn myself, so I always put this little board right here. I call this my little lap work board. And I put this down in my lap where I can work where I'm comfortable, where I won't hurt myself, because safety always first, y'all. Always push that. So, right here with the copper wires that I'm going to cut it. Right on the line. Now, I'm putting my wire back up on my rack because I try to keep everything neat where I can always get to it quick. Sometimes it don't work like that though. So, now I'm going to get another clamp. But first we're just going to cut this insulation away where we can get to these copper wires. So let me do that. Let me find me a blade. You got one right here on my desk. And what I'm going to do is cut that insulation off like I showed y'all before. And don't forget now, you don't want to cut this all the way through. You're just trying to get to this insulation, get through the insulation like that. I don't know if y'all can see it. You see how I got that cut like that? Well, once I got that cut, then I come back and I grab this little rubber part and I pull it off. That's all I do to get to the copper part. So let me do that now, and let me see what I can use because my tools is in there in the train room. So let me see, can I do it with the scissors here? You know what? I can't. So all aboard. All right, made it back, got my pair of pliers. So I got to try to get this done before 15 minutes because I need to get more you all on board where I can get more people, where I can give y'all more time. So that's why I can't show you everything as I do, because I got to get there and do it before 15 minutes. So y'all stay on board and I'll be right back. All right, so I got that piece cut off. You see how they look? You can see the copper, because that's what we got to solder to. So like I say, I got to do this quick, y'all. So let me hold y'all up again. All aboard. All right, you see, we soldered it on. So that's what it's gonna look like now. You remember what I told y'all last time, the first time. Now we got to put the glue to protect what we just soldered, where it won't get water on it or anything where to make it short out. So we grab the hot glue gun.
I hope you enjoyed the video, but let's talk about the next couple of videos, because what I'm thinking to do is I could do the remix. I could put a reverse loop on the end of the upper board just to make the train run.
Okay, I need some more glue.
Or I could
see, that might be enough, but I don't like might. I like to make sure we have what we need to have. So let me move this here and go over here to where I have my glue at and grab another glue stick. All right. Okay, I got another glue stick for my gun. So we're going to put that, insert that in. So for those who don't know what the glue gun look like, this is what the glue gun look like. And this one here has the small glue sticks, the real narrow one. And that's the one I prefer when you're working on things like this, because the big one, it's a lot more bulkier, and you really can't really control it. And the little one you can control a lot better than you can with the big one. So that's why I refer to the small glue gun, where you can work it, and it got 2 levels of heat. It got low and high, where if you need something to stay heated for a little while where you can work it, then you put it on high. If you have it where you're just trying to put it in place quickly, where it can cool down quickly, you put it on low. So that's why I like this here. So all aboard. So look, I see my time running out. So next week, you'll see the finished product of this train station for the Norfolk Southern train yard for Inman Yard. All aboard.